I love it when you find a build so good for such a good price that you just need to tell people just how good it is. So here's that build and the benchmarks. Oh, and the price given how crazy it is. There's just something magical about that $1,000 price point, but typically that price point has come with certain performance ceilings and implications that usually don't include strong 1440p performance. So when we were doing last week's Amazon stream with Tom, who works on our team, he put together a really epic build on Amazon, and it surprised me just how inexpensive it was, given that it was pairing a Ryzen 5600 with the 6700 XT, and it's the 6700 XT that's actually really exciting. I mean, we're talking about $1,300 for an entire PC, which includes really high-end, nice HyperX peripherals and a sweet 1080p monitor, or $1,400 for the exact same setup that also included a 1440p monitor. And if you want to head down below, robeytech.com/Amazon, you can see all that stuff. But again, I can't promise that the peripherals and the monitors are still on sale. It was actually when we got done, and I went to Tom and was like, hey, if Amazon wasn't like a restriction, how much would this PC cost? And we got it down by another $60 from $1,008 down to $941, which is crazy. And then even with the sale prices gone, the ceiling is so close to $1,000 that it was like, I gotta do a video of this. So with that under my belt and knowing it was just less than $1,000, I really needed to know just how good this PC was. So I tested it and I benched it and I did a bunch of games on it. And now, well, before we get into it, let's actually walk through the PC and the parts. Oh, and by the way, if you like this content and you want to see more just like this, please let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so we can continue to make awesome content like this. Okay, so first up is the CPU, which is a Ryzen 5 5600, not an X version, which is a fantastic CPU. Yes, you can overclock it, but you don't really need to, specifically at 1440p and even at 4K, which is a possibility if you were to upgrade the system. And they were both some $150, not only on Amazon, but also available on Newegg. And by the way, we have links to the parts to all of this stuff down below with multiple options to purchase. Now for cooling, you don't actually need to have a cooler because the Wraith cooler it comes with is more than capable of cooling, even in the case that we talk about and use later on. But if you wanted to add this like ID cooling SE214 XT and just have a little RGB, you could pick one up for a little over 20 bucks. It's not gonna do anything for you. You can't really do anything, but if you want some RGB in the build, in addition to the 2 RGB fans that come with the case, then hey, here's an option, and we always like to throw that in there. Now for motherboard, we're gonna be using the Budget King, which is like the DS3H versions from Gigabyte. These are like those great budget mobos, but it's kind of a staple of budget mobos. Oh, and it's sub 100 bucks. So only thing you may want to do if you're going to get this and you're only going to use Wi-Fi, you may want to purchase a USB Wi-Fi adapter. We've got one linked below, but they're usually around 20-30 bucks if you aren't wanting to go wired. But outside of that board, this board is good for anything you need for a Ryzen 5 5600. Oh, and by the way, it's actually not a terrible looking board either with its all black look and everything. It's not hideous looking, which is a nice bonus. Now for RAM, we're gonna go the 32 gigabyte Crucial Ballistics 3200 megahertz at CL16, and it's just shy of 90 bucks for 32 gigabytes, which is absolutely awesome. For storage, we're gonna be using that 1 terabyte Crucial P3 at less than $65 on both Best Buy and at Newegg. Now, this is a good for gaming and good for like casual use PC kind of NVMe SSD. But if you're gonna do like video editing or something more demanding, I do have a recommendation down in the description below for something more durable than what we have with this NVMe drive. Now for the GPU, I can't believe that this is available for this price. And this isn't the only option, but right now you can get the ASRock RX 6700 XT Challenger D for around 360 bucks. The 6700 XT is a fantastic 1440p card, and you can get that's essentially a ton of power at this price point. Now for the PC case, we're gonna be using the Cooler Master MB320L. It's absolutely fantastic airflow case with a super nice small footprint and great airflow. Now finally for PSU, we're gonna be using the Corsair RM850X. It's gold rated, 850 watts, which is more than enough for this build and giving you plenty of headroom for upgrading. Also, it's the one thing you never cheap out on is your PSU. And for basically this price for an 850 watt PSU, ka-ching, there's everything just shy of $1,000. And yes, unless you want to go ahead and add like that optional cooler. And again, also don't forget our Asia Horse cable extensions, which we use in all of our builds. If you just want to up that flare, they're about 29 bucks. That'll completely have you covered. You're done with this. You say the build's fantastic. How does it actually perform? Well, we tested at 440p, and to ensure that we were giving it the best chance for the highest possible frame rate, which means we used FSR, we used XeSS, whatever it took to basically get the frame rate up, because these are options that you have to improve your frame rate. Now, we ensured that DOCP was enabled and RAM was running at 3200 megahertz, and we had enabled Smart Access Memory or resize bar for above 4G decoding. If you want to know more about this, and especially if you have a Radeon GPU, you should watch this video right here on squeezing out the absolute most performance for your Radeon GPU and all of those settings. It walks you through the Adrenalin software and where everything is. And believe it or not, you'll actually get huge jumps by doing some of the things that I've done to make sure that we have good frame rates here. Okay, so let's start with the games. First, we're gonna talk about our single player games. Let's start with Cyberpunk 2077. It was running at 1440p at ultra settings with ray tracing on ultra and using FSR 2.1 set to performance. You're looking at 44 frames per second. Now, if you set FSR to ultra performance, you can actually jump that to above 60 FPS, which is absolutely awesome for this game and perfect for basically playing this. This is a powerhouse title. So if you want to do things like disable ray tracing, you're going to see those numbers jump well north of 60 FPS. But if you want to play it as the CD Projekt Red intended, then running it with ray tracing at 60 frames per second is butter, and it's absolutely awesome. Perfect. Next up, we're basically using Callisto Protocol, which is the latest game from AMD. And if you're wanting to get your spook on, this is the game to test it on. So if you're running it at ultra at 1440p, you're going to get about 58 frames per second. But if what you want to do, if you want to get north of that, you could change one setting, go down to high, you're going to get north and into 60 FPS, which is perfect for single player games. But if you're looking for something closer to 100 frames per second, you can go to medium on FSR and then just run things on ultra, which is no problem. It still looks absolutely fantastic. Now for Forza Horizon 5, which is a super showcase arcade racing title that is fun as heck to play, and it looks as good as it plays. If you set things to extreme and you use FSR 2.2 at performance, you're gonna get 98 frames per second, or you can change it to ultra performance for 100 frames per second. Now I would run performance, it looks better, and anything north of 60 FPS, especially in a racing title, is going to be more than good enough. So how about Elden Ring? Well, we cranked it up just to ensure that we're seeing zero drops whatsoever below 60 FPS, and sure enough, zero issues whatsoever. Elden Ring ran great. Now finally, for our last single player game we popped in, if you like pop in a game nowadays, I guess that's like an old cartridge statement, but we launched a Microsoft Flight Sim. If you pop things up to ultra, you are gonna hitting above 40 FPS, so about 44 on average in the few scenarios we tested. But if you drop things down to high end in the game, you are north of 70 FPS, and it is buttery smooth for a flight sim experience. Absolutely fantastic for single player games. So what about MP, Robey? Well, how about we kick things off with Fortnite? Now we just let the game choose the best settings, given that this is had the new Unreal goodness with like their lumen lighting, and we just wanted to see what it looked like, and it ran at 87 FPS, which was great. More than fine if you're okay with just playing it as beautiful as it looks. But if you want to maximize frame rate and optimize for competitive settings, we got things up to 326 frames per second. So yeah, that seems good. Now finally in our list, we went ahead and did Apex Legends, this time optimizing completely for competitive, given there's no engine upgrade, and ensuring nothing but buttery smooth frames per second action. We saw things at 143 frames per second on average, which is perfect for your 144 hertz monitor at 1440p. Now remember, if you want even more FPS, you could always pop down to 1080p for your esport games, so like your Valorants and all that sort of stuff, which you're gonna be well north of 300 frames per second, no problem whatsoever. And especially if you're gonna do like Call of Duty or anything like that, again, this thing is going to have no issues playing MP titles at all. So very impressive numbers for a build this cheap. But that's actually not the best part. Given this is a B550 Mobo and you have an 850 watt PSU, you could absolutely upgrade the system. This does have legs if you need to start at 1000 and then slowly upgrade it over time. So you could even make this build a 4K behemoth without much of an issue, and with, of course, some extra dollars. So if you wanted to get a bit crazy down the line, you could pick up a 5800X3D. Again, not really a good CPU for overclocking, but this board works perfect for it. So again, throwing in a 5800X3D, just adding something to cool it with, like a Noctua U12A, and then boom, you're good to go. This case is going to have no problem in terms of being able to cool that, just as long as you basically add a rear fan, which we have a link to from Cooler Master, just to get that airflow right the way through. Now finally, you could forgo the 6700 XT and actually jump to a 7900 XTX, which would be a great pair with the 5800 X3D. You will basically have one of, if not the best PC combinations available hands down at any resolution outside of like an RTX 4090, which you would be hard pressed to put inside of this case. Better yet, if you want to, you can add additional storage. So if you wanted to throw a 2 terabyte NVMe in there, you do have room for that, or even a 4 terabyte. So you could end up with 1 terabyte OS and then 4 terabytes of gaming storage, no problem whatsoever. Or you could add SSDs, which are another possibility within this case. For RAM, you could actually double it. So you could go to 64 gigs very easily, just for $90 more. And then you could add fans or to improve additional cooling. But again, a 5800X 3D with a U12A and an exhaust fan is going to have no problem. You're looking at probably in the 60s when you're doing gaming anyway. Really, this is such a killer build at such a great price with plenty of opportunity to upgrade and keep playing your favorite AAA titles at fantastic frame rates. So if you want to do upgrades over time, this build can grow with you. We have all of the parts list down below, including the upgrade section, so you can just follow along. It's very easy to build in. We have, we obviously have done builds within this, or it's very easy to find guides on how to do this. I would love to know down in the comments below if this is something you'd like to see a step-by-step guide for. Again, pretty straightforward because of air cooling, so if we needed to do a quick guide for this, we absolutely could. But anyway, I'd love to know what else you think. Were you surprised at the cost of this PC, given how powerful it was? Were you impressed at how well it performs, given the price? And if you were to do the upgrade path, what would you upgrade first? Would it be GPU or would it be CPU? I'd love to know all that and more down in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, like I said earlier, please like and subscribe. Hit that like button, whip that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time we post a new video like this. And then again, hey, who knows? Maybe what we'll do is we'll actually just build this live. Did you know we have a live channel where we actually build builds like this all the time? Head on over to youtube.com/Robeytech live. It's our big brother channel where we actually do builds like this live, benchmark them live. You can ask questions, all that sort of stuff. And this would be a great build potentially for that. Also, if YouTube live isn't your thing, you could always head over to twitch.tv/Robeytech where we do that too every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific. Do you have more questions about this? Want to know more about this build, or just have questions as you build it? Head over to our Discord server, discord.gg/Robeytech, where we have tons, literally tens of thousands of people who are tech and PC enthusiasts that love to chat about these very same things, and a great way to get your questions answered. And who knows, you actually might make a friend. You know, we have other content that we're going to be building this PC in a Ford F-150 Lightning you could check out right here. Or maybe you just want to see really sexy builds like this one over here on Instagram. Anyway, we're at Robeytech absolutely everywhere. We would love to have you follow us. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.